This is Algebra 1, Term 6, Lesson 1, One Variable Statistics. We'll begin with Desmos Classroom, and then we'll do a fun activity in Polypad, and we'll finish up with an exploration in GeoGebra. So let's start with Desmos. In our Desmos activity, we will be exploring some data from the 2012 and the 2016 Olympics. There are 15 screens in this activity. In screen 1, we'll be doing a unit conversion from meters to feet and meters to miles. In screen 2, students will learn how to create a box plot by typing box plot and the name of a list. In screen 3, students will identify the different parts of a box plot graph. In screen 4, students will learn how to calculate one variable statistics in the Desmos calculator. And in screen number 5, students will learn how to create a dot plot in the Desmos calculator. On screen 6, students will analyze two sets of data and come to a conclusion which race had faster runners. On the next screen, students will estimate the mean time and they will insert a vertical line in the graph. Here's the Rio data. We're going to actually calculate the mean time by typing mean and then the name of the list, and then it will give us the mean. On this screen, students will click and it will reveal the mean, and they will see how well they did when they estimated the value of the mean. On this screen, they will circle the two numbers in the middle, and then they will draw a vertical line to represent the median, and then they will compare the mean and the median for these data sets. On this screen, they will actually calculate the median using median. You can use the one variable stats, and that is in that list as well, but this is an alternative way of finding your median. On screen number 12, they're going to actually modify the list. It is important that they go ahead and create the box plot first and then change the number so that they can see that change taking place in real time. On this screen, they're talking about the mean and the median and which one is affected by an outlier. Now, what I've discovered is students already have heard outlier in a prior class, so this was not new terminology. We are not calculating or determining an outlier. They're just being told that a number is or isn't an outlier. In a future lesson, we'll talk a little more about outliers and how those are determined. But I'm asking them, what do you think would happen if we have an outlier in our data? Will that outlier affect the mean, or will it affect the median, or both? And what do you think? And so they're making a prediction here. And then they're going to do some actual calculations by finding the mean and the median for this data set. And then on this one, they'll check their response by clicking to reveal. And that sums up their Desmos activity. And we will go roll the dice in Polypad. So when you click here, it's going to open up Polypad in another screen. And up here, you're going to click on the dice, and as soon as you click on them, you'll see this word randomize, and you'll notice these spellings are a little different. This is a British home for this site, so they have S instead of Z, but when you click on randomize, it's going to roll the dice. And it's going to add a number to the table for that total. And then they'll do it again. Now they have to keep track of how many times they've rolled it, because they have to roll it 40 times. So if you want, each team could have one set of data, or you could do it in pairs, or each individual could do their own. It's up to you. Once they've rolled the dice 40 times, and obviously I have not done that here, they are going to click on this, and it will display different graph types at the bottom here, and they're going to click on not scatter plot but the column chart. They have some interesting names for this. Column chart would be like a bar chart for us. So you click on column chart and it will create a column chart for the graph. Now my points are pretty limited here because I have not done the 40, so there should be way more interesting than this one. They can do the row chart, which is just an alternative bar chart. But I do want them to create a bar chart, and then they'll take a picture of their table and their bar chart, and they're going to place that on this slide. It is important that they keep up with this data, because once they have their 40 dice rolls, they're going to keep using that same data over and over again on the next few screens. So on slide number 3, we're going to create a histogram. The first thing they'll do is click on this link, and it will take them to Desmos, and then they will put their data in here. And I've just put in some random data for mine. It is important that they read this chart correctly, though, when they're putting their data in. So if you'll look at this table that I just created, this is saying 6, 2. That's not an ordered pair. That's telling you that the number 6 should be in the list twice. So they're just going to type 6, 6 for those two 6s and so forth. Here it says 4, 1. That means 4 is in the list once. So that's how that works. And I don't know why, but kids are so kind of tuned into doing ordered pairs, they have a hard time reading this for some reason. But do help them with that. Go ahead and have some conversations, and let's get our data into our list correctly. So I've just made up a random list, and obviously I don't have 40 points. It should say 40 element list, but I'm being asked for a histogram. So I'm going to type histogram, and I'm going to put a capital L in here. And then it's going to create a histogram. Now this little plus sign is a zoom fit. Always click that, so that'll kind of zoom into the graph and make it look better. Now it says in your slides to choose count and left. So you'll change this to left. But it also says it wants the bin width, right here, the bin width to be 2. So let's go back and click on this. And it'll say L, 1. That's a bin width of 1. Make that a 2. And then let's click our plus sign again to make it look better. And there's our bin width. Now mine is not very great. I have a pretty lousy histogram here. Theirs will be way better than mine because I only have a few data points compared to their 40. So you should see a little bit more interesting graph for your kids. They'll place a picture of that graph on this screen, and it is very important that they don't close Desmos or lose that list, because if they do, they have to recreate it. And guess what? Every single time, without fail, somebody will close it, and you can just hear the groans. Oh no, I closed it. I'm like, if you know how to reopen your tab, use shortcuts to reopen that tab. You don't want to lose that data. So, yeah, but unfortunately, I think even if they do open it, Desmos doesn't save. So, anyway, yeah, just try to warn them. Do not close your tab. You don't want to have to type all 40 numbers again, class. All right, they're going to use that to do the next screen, which is a dot plot. So we're doing the same thing with the same graph. So they'll just come in here and take out the histogram and type in dot plot, DOTPLOT, all one word, open parentheses, put the name of the list, and it's just that easy. Now that does have some specificity here. It says make the bin width 3, and it's saying use bend X values and left alignment. So let's see if we can do all that. So click here on bend width and change the 1 to a 3. And then we're going to do bend, and we're going to do left. Okay, and so there's my dot plot, and I would take a picture of that, and I would put that on my screen. So as you can see, we're just going through all the different types of graphs and how to do them in Desmos mainly, because they'll be creating these on their own in future lessons. All right, here we need to create a box plot using the same data, so we don't have to type it again. We're going to type box plot. But here it gives us some specificity, offset 2, height 3. So let's see if we can do that. We'll do box plot. Put our L in there. Offset 2, height 3. Now I do have it excluding the outliers. You can take that off, but in my case there aren't any, so it doesn't really matter. They won't, almost certainly won't have any because of our limited data set. It only goes from 2 to 12, and so I would be shocked if anybody came up with an outlier. If you'll click the plus, it will do zoom fit and make that look a little bit better, and then you can move it around. They can zoom in. The offset looks pretty bad on this one, or the height looks pretty bad on mine, but it says 3, so I got to follow instructions. Take a picture of that and place that on this slide. And then finally we're going to do a 5-number summary, and we're going to use the same box plot that we just made, so they can just recopy that here. So they'll paste that, and then they will calculate their 5-number summary, and then they want to label their box plot. My box plot's not very good, so let me just add another data point. There it is. I need another whisker. So what I'll do, let's change this to there we go. I'm just adding some numbers here because I want to have a bar in the middle. The reason I'm doing all that is because I want to do statistics, STATS, and I'm going to put L in here. And then this is called the 5-number summary. They're going to label these numbers onto their graph. So they'll take a picture of this so they can export it here. They can zoom in first. I would. Let's see if I can zoom in, make it as big as I can get it. There we go, that looks better. Once they take a picture, they're going to zoom in and then they're going to label this with the 5-number summary. They can make this thicker. They could turn off these grid lines if they want to. We don't really use them. All right, but they'll label the minimum, the Q1, which is the first quartile, which is this vertical bar here. They're going to label the median, Q3, and they're going to label the max. The kids should already know where all this is. This is review from our prior course. At least I hope so. It was for me anyway. So the kids are just going to label that and then they'll put it here. Now, they don't have to label it in Desmos. In Slides, there's a text box. They can label it using the tools right in Slides. And that's exactly how I did it in your teacher slide. So you'll see what that looks like. The last task for today is to explore GeoGebra. So they're basically given a set of data about temperature. So click here. And it looks like this. And this is temperatures in Farmington, Connecticut. They're going to click on A, and it's going to highlight the data that they're attempting to graph. Now this is a little weird, so watch. They're going to click on the histogram looking button here, and it's going to create a list for them to choose from, and we're going to choose one variable analysis. Now you can barely see it, but it's way over here on the right, so drag this bar over. We're kind of covering up our instructions, but we'll leave it so we can see a little bit. And then follow these instructions here. It says select the cells in column A. We did that. We clicked on the button that looked like a histogram. We did that. We clicked on analyze the data. Got it. Now we're going to investigate other single variable options. And that's in this drop down menu where it says histogram. We can choose bar chart, which is like which we did earlier. Here's the box plot, which we've done earlier. Here's the dot plot. I don't really like this one. It's kind of hard to make any sense of that one. Stem and leaf is interesting. The kids may know that from our prior class. That's not really in our standards, or it's not specified, so I don't usually use it, but they can do it if they want. I'm going to go ahead and stick with the two main ones we do use a lot, which is histogram, and I'm not going to use dot plot just because it looks so bad. Now the other thing they're supposed to do is they're supposed to explore their statistics here. So when you click on statistics, it's going to pull this up, and you can shrink that back down if you want because that's good enough. I just snipped this one little box here and put that on the slide. And then something else I noticed is it has this little it'll split screen over here, and you can add in, let's do box plot. Oh no, I've already got, there's the histogram, there's the box plot. I don't know why that didn't work, but I put both on one screen, and now I've got everything. So I can take a picture of all that, and then I think that's all they need. They need the statistics, they need at least 2 graphs, and I'm going to pull this back over so we can see it better. And then they need a picture of all that on their slide. Now once they get that over here, they're asked to answer a question. What does this data tell you about the temperatures? What's going on? So they need to look a little closer at the numbers and the shapes of the graphs and what is happening. And that concludes our one variable statistics lesson. Y'all have a great day.